What the Detroit Pistons are doing now was incoming. It was completely incoming, and I'm so glad they are now rebuilding. It was time. What they have now in terms of youth and upside is much better than a group of Andre Drummond, Reggie Jackson, and Blake Griffin, and really no promise of making the playoffs or being a legitimate threat. A year ago, I uploaded a video titled, "Are the Detroit Pistons the biggest underdogs in the NBA?" Now, with this video, I basically said time is coming up for the Pistons. It was either step up big time or step out. This was the last season for the Pistons to compete. If they can't compete in a growing Eastern Conference and get to the playoffs and at least do something, then it's time to move on from what they have, and it's time to embrace a rebuild. The Pistons were just scrambling to try and fight for a playoff spot. Injuries played a role, and also poor, inconsistent play from the team. In my mind, after that video, I was 100% certain that after the 2019-2020 season, the Pistons will be rebuilding. Then I said, you know what? Okay, maybe I'm just an outsider, and maybe I don't know what they're doing. Who knows? Andre Drummond could come out and be Steph Curry. We will see what this season brings and what happens. But behold, the Pistons are now rebuilding, and they are rebuilding for the better. The Pistons had an amazing draft. They took Killian Hayes, they took Isiah Stewart, they took a really good player in Saddiq Bey to replace Luke Kennard, who they traded away, and then they took Saben Lee. Saddiq Bey is a guy who I'm really high on, as he can be a really good rotational 3-and-D forward who can really go out there and give you high motor and good production on both ends. And he's a player who will just come in, know his role, and play. He is a Villanova product, and one thing about Villanova products is that you are certain to get a quality piece that will play hard. One that hits close to home for me as a Dallas Mavericks fan is Jalen Brunson. Then there is Eric Pascal, Kyle Lowry, Mikal Bridges, Dante DiVincenzo. So Saddiq, I believe, will carry on that mantle, and he just really has the tools to be a quality player for the Pistons. Isiah Stewart is another great piece for this team. 6'9", 250-pound, big, strong center who is a good finisher inside, plays with high motor, and is a good rebounder. This was a really good draft for them, and these are moves to build for the future. I wish they would have kept Christian Wood. That's the only thing I hated about their free agency, because I feel he was a sweetener for this team. Hayes, Bey, Stewart, and then Wood, learning behind Blake Griffin, would have been good, but Christian Wood ended up signing off the Houston Rockets. What can I say here? The Detroit Pistons were very active in free agency. Mason Plumlee, Jeremy Grant, DeLon Wright, Jahlil Okafor, Wayne Ellington, Josh Jackson. Like, some of these guys I expect are going to be traded in the future, like Mason Plumlee and Jeremy Grant. They are all not future pieces. They'll be utilized in a way to boost their trade market value, then shipped for picks at the trade deadline, or maybe even a bigger trade down the line for a star. This team can honestly have a quick and smooth rebuild if everything goes right. They have vets to help out the younger guys. They have a good amount of young players, and they have trade assets to where they can flip for picks. Josh Jackson, he can boom or bust for this team. He's a guy where the Detroit Pistons can take that chance with him, as they probably won't be a competing team for some time. And they'll just see how Jackson develops. DeLon Wright as well, and so as a Wayne Ellington, who could be another shooter to assist this team's backcourt and be a rotational player. The moving pieces that aren't set in stone is Derrick Rose, who for the meantime will be a mentor to Killian Hayes and back him up until the Pistons find him a new home. Mason Plumlee, Blake Griffin, and Jeremy Grant, I expect them to be traded down the line in the future, but we'll have to see what package they get for him. The team's future is Killian Hayes, Sekou Doumbouya, who I really expect to take a big leap in his production next season, Saddiq Bey, Isiah Stewart, Svi Mykhailiuk, who is another under-the-radar piece for this team who can really shoot, but really has to get better as a defender, Saban Lee as well, and even a Josh Jackson depending on how he plays. Hayes is the point guard of the future, and this man has potential to be something really special. It'll be even more interesting to see the connection of Blake Griffin and Hayes together. The team is going to hold on to Blake Griffin in a mentor type role to the young guys and be a starter for them until they can ship him off. Something similar to where Chris Paul was in Oklahoma City. The Pistons don't necessarily have to be bad. I think they are in a position where they can be competitive, but may lose some games as the young guys develop. The team probably won't be good for a few seasons, but we should see growth as time goes on with the Pistons and more picks coming in so that they can stay active in the draft. This is a good direction for the team, and it's something to look forward to than a scrambling Drummond, Blake, Reggie Jackson led team that really wasn't doing much. The Detroit Pistons here just has to stay the course, continue building on the young talent that they have with the veterans, and boost the trade value of the players they brought in free agency and continue from there. They won't be a good team. That's kind of a given. Probably will be in the bottom of the East, but they will go into the underground. They will embrace a rebuild, and in a few years, finally, Detroit basketball will come back stronger and compete in the East.